Deep within the very roots of the seat of elvish power within the Northlands, a young child and his father descend into secret catacombs to confront face to face for the first time the voice that has been with him since he was born, his mysterious uncle, who would kill an entire school to keep him safe. What awaits Athalor on Andarud as he comes face to face with his uncle Lamruil? Welcome everybody to Book of Dawn, IOTH Academy, Tormented by Gnomes, your game master, joined by Leg Day for our first solo episode today. Leg Day, how's it going?
Not too bad. I just managed to eat half a chili con carne, about half a kilo of it, in about 6 minutes. So
That's impressive.
I've got a little food baby that's forming. I've got a G Fuel. I've got an eldritch horror from beyond the realms of human knowledge as an uncle. Why not? Just
Who could ask for
pop
anything
off.
more? Oh, before we get into this, aside from digestion, is there anything else that you need? Anything else that I can do? Any out of character business to tend to before we get right back into it?
I think we're good if you've got a catch up ready.
Yeah, I can do a catch up. Athalor, in his 5th year of study at IOTH Academy, is the son of the most important abjurer in the magical city of Andarud, suspended between realities by a planar phenomenon known as the Gyre. Athalor hasn't been here for 5 years. After the Dokelfar sage cut him off from his uncle, that psychic entity with the connection to something far away that is approaching this world of Anacra with terrible hunger, closer and closer every day. The sage cut him off from his uncle, and since then, his father has written letters to the Academy threatening consequences if he is not returned immediately, claiming that his safety is at stake. Athalor has traveled to Andarud with the Dokelfar sage, who is here to protect him, advise, and perhaps to meet his mysterious uncle herself with her own intentions. Upon their arrival, Athalor enjoyed dinner with his mother and father, an opportunity for them to connect, to share in the passion and excitement and curiosity that all of them share about magic and the magical world. That night, Athalor went to bed feeling connected and loved and excited more so than ever before. But in the middle of the night, he was awakened as his father knocked on his door and told him that it was time to meet his uncle in person. The two of them traveled by secret paths to the opposite underground side, the flip side of the city of Andarud. Deep within those catacombs, they've now entered a chamber not unlike a tomb, far below the ground. And that is where we left off. Did I miss any key details you can think of?
No, we did a little bit of family theory crafting over the Dawn siphon, but that's for later.
Then, let us continue. Down here in the depths, you stand with your father. Purple flickering torches light the way over a stone causeway that leads into a series of chambers, all of polished stone, all held up by pillars. Below this bridge is an unseen depth, just an emptiness that goes down beyond the range of the light. And over the bridge itself, you can hear and feel the very edges of a powerful wind blowing across, howling as it goes in this direction, from your right to your left.
Father, is he here?
Yes.
Why now?
Athalor, I've kept secrets from you for many, many years. And that's protected you from some dangers and threatened you with others. Now that you're here, I'm not ignorant. I know why she came with you. I have some idea of what's transpired at the school. And the time for secrets is over. If you're going to make any decisions, you need to make them as a mage, as an adult, with your eyes open, without deceit, as befits my son.
Then let me know it all.
He takes your hand and starts walking across the bridge straight into the wind, strong enough to blow either of you over the edge. He doesn't seem to slow his stride at all.
Is it a cold wind?
It's ambient temperature.
Okay, so
Roll it.
it doesn't feel like it's blowing in from outside.
Nope.
Maybe a survival check?
Yeah, do a survival check. Okay, this is a supernatural effect that is pushing the air rapidly from one direction to another. It is circulating this very air inside this chamber through a magical loop.
I see. Can I tell if the loop kind of extends? Like, if it would theoretically be like going, like, continuing on as if there was like a circle around this place?
No, it seems like it flows from here to here and then sort of just disperses against that wall. As if there was an enormous fan right here. But obviously fans don't exist at this point in this world, so it's a magical driver of force.
Are you doing that?
We laid these wards here long ago for your uncle's protection. They're bound to us and our family. Neither of us will be touched.
Interesting.
Nor by any of the defenses, some of which we've already passed through, Athalor. You, me, and your uncle are the only ones who can safely enter here. And he's going to go ahead and proceed along the bridge.
Athalor follows.
Roll an Arcana check for me, please.
Ooh.
Natural 20. Okay. You are about to walk over an enormous glyph of warding that covers this area right here. The exact effect on it is... Let's see. Oh, Hunger of Hadar.
Ah, how thematic.
Mm-hmm. And looking over your shoulder as you're examining this whole area, sort of your eyes now opened to the various magical effects you may not have previously seen. Looking back, with your knowledge of runes, you just barely see the traced outlines of a symbol over the door. A symbol of death. One of the most powerful forms of rune magic and warding magic out there. When triggered, it does death. It kills people.
Oh, it does a death.
It does a heckin' death, yes. So that might be the most powerful defense.
Kill.
Yeah, it might be the most powerful defense down here, but you already walked through it because you ignored it. In fact, the more you look, the more you realize that there are tons of magical effects in effect down here. There's a guards and wards spell. Was it not for the fact that you're you wouldn't be able to see anything for the fog. The confusion that would make you turn left and right accidentally. The private sanctum that wards this area against extraplanar intrusion and all teleportation magic. This whole area is incredibly magically locked down, but all of these spells passed right over you.
With what I know of my father, would I know if there's some kind of magical signature that he had that might be visible on these runes?
It definitely his work is at play here, but it's not just his work. This is a collaborative effort.
There's like there's dad's signature and there is the other.
Mm-hmm. In the chamber ahead, there's an old threadbare carpet running along the edge. Several stone tables are out with books written in assorted languages on very complex topics. Planar metageometry, physiology, the firmament, advanced abjuration, dimensional folding techniques, things in languages you've never seen before. It's just scattered left and right along with implements of magic. Your father continues walking along. Now that you've passed over the bridge, he lets go of your hand and walks unconcerned through the glyph of warding into the larger chamber.
Athalor continues like having his hand held and gingerly steps over the glyph. Certainly there's a bit of a like tiptoe on it. Like, you never like subconscious kind of half heel raise where you're walking a little bit more lightly than usual.
To the left and the right, chambers open up. And you can see protective rune circles with creatures bound within. They stare at you as you pass. One of them, a horned fiend, obviously. The other, for a moment, looks like just a well-dressed, respectable noble. But when they turn, they have a spider's face. And you hear the noises of imprisoned creatures from around the corner just out of sight.
Father? What are these things?
These are bound creatures, summoned. Necessary for the pursuit of knowledge.
You're experimenting on them.
We are.
Why?
To understand the effects that your uncle and his connections have on the minds of beings from this world. It is vital that we understand.
Were you doing this before Uncle was in?
No.
Athalor takes a moment and bites his lip, unsure of like, did they put me in my mind about knowing if it was safe?
He gestures for you to follow and starts walking up the stairs on the other side.
Athalor kind of blinks himself out of it and then scurries along after.
Mm-hmm.
Catching a glimpse of this. Who's this?
That is an Althar. Roll a history check. Roll a history check, please.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Hostage identification.
That is a relative. That's a relative of your mother's. She's the royal enforcer in charge of, like, she was the arbiter of the law here in Andarud.
That's father. That
Tephasia, your aunt. I'm afraid it's not.
it's no. I can see. I know.
What else do you know, Athalor?
Is Athalor blinks quite heavily. An illusion? He's somewhat overwhelmed by having seen what appears to be some interfamilial hostage taking.
We have the eyes of Andarud have not been shut this entire time, my son. We've watched what's happened in the rest of the world. We've monitored the actions of the enemy.
A miraclone?
Yes, precisely. We don't need the sage and her lantern to know that we are a target. Tephasia is as high as this went, one of our very own council. Now she's revealing to us exactly what it is that the Mirror Keeper's replicas know, and if they think any differently from the originals. There's still much more to examine, but we're learning.
How long have you had them?
A week?
Was this what caused you to send the letter?
In part, Athalor. In part. I can't imagine that the sage would sit idly by while the Mirror Keeper infiltrates your school, but it is yet another danger under which you operate. Roll an insight check for me, please. Okay. When she sees you, now that she's finally noticed you, she's twitching left and right and just looking around, and then stands up and puts her hands on either side and says, "You have to let me out. This is a mistake. Your father's gone mad."
Let's keep going, yeah?
Yes. And he'll continue stepping up the stairs. And he stops you for a moment, gives you one look, and says, "Your uncle is just up this way." The sage's spell is still wrapped around you if you are uncomfortable.
I'm ready.
The chamber beyond, at its center, a woven construction of metal, eerily bent around itself, curving with thousands of different branches, almost like a twisted tree. Its parallels running alongside each other, each of those pairs humming with a different register of the gyre itself. Pillars surround the center of the room with this metal structure and glyphs inscribed on the ground around it, all of them glowing and towering above this, rising to a height of 8 feet or taller. Clad in a long black robe with a twisted metal staff in one hand. It's back to you at first as Lamriel turns to you. 6 tentacles reaching down from his face, his eyes gleaming in a withered, shrunken skull, sides of it pulsing with unseen glands beneath the surface. Lamriel, your nephew. You hear nothing as the creature regards you for a moment.
Uncle.
Its mouth opens. One of the tendrils slithers down into its mouth, down its own throat. I'm not going to replicate the sound because it's horrible. But a moment later, Lamriel Andarud speaks not with his mind, but with his actual voice.
Athalor, you are unharmed. Good.
It's been a dangerous few weeks, but you know I'm resourceful.
Yes. Our information is imperfect. Only brief reports. Explain, are you well? Are your studies harmed?
No, in fact, they're accelerated. I'm doing well, although without our magic, there have been complications. But I've come closer to replicating everything IOTH did. And Athalor's like a little bit speechless. He's like, why am I hearing boss music?
Your father quietly says, I'm certain you have countless questions. I can explain it from the beginning, or we can answer you.
Yeah, the beginning sounds good.
Hadarai walks into the chamber, past his towering brother, and gestures at the metal construct in the center. After Lamriel and I returned from our voluntary exile, and I became the Kothramir Moor, this was our work.
The Gyre?
No, the gyre was set in place by Diantor years before us, one of IOTH's companions.
Athalor's brow furrows at the... like, weren't they corrupted by Zethians? Kind of internal model.
The world is so much bigger than any of us are taught, Athalor. And we both knew it. We all heard the stories of the Dawn and the Four Kingdoms and where it all came from, but even that is limited. The way the gyre folds together, the way that it echoes and rebounds upon itself in impossible ways, it showed us that Anacra is so very small. And we wanted to understand more. We had no desire to be constrained by the limitations of the Emerald Tablets or the firmament, the ways that the sovereigns had to limit this place because of the machinations of the Infernals. It was never our fault. We should never have been responsible for it, nor limited by it. Rather than delve out against that barrier, we delved inward. He reaches up and he sets his hand on this metal structure and runs a finger along it, like somebody would take their finger and bring it around the edge of a glass. And as he does, the entire structure begins... It's a counterpoint almost, like a missing vibration within the gyre itself. When he pulls his hand away, it continues to hum. This place was our birthright and our gift, and we intended to make the most of it. So we looked inward, deeper and deeper within the infinite folds, and by resonating, widened them, strengthened them, to look through and reach within and thereby beyond. And we succeeded.
So the way to go out is to go in and through?
Yes.
And that's where you found...
Lamriel was... When we opened that window, it opened in two directions. And we pulled something through. And that something...
I have undergone metamorphosis. After exposure to the specimen, we are now as you see us.
So you pulled something out, and it attached to Uncle?
Yes.
Was it like a being, an energy, like a virus?
Just a small biological specimen. A tiny, tiny piece of something much, much larger. A fleshy thing. It burrowed its way into him. And I was unable to prevent the change.
We remain your brother. We remain your uncle.
Lamuriel and I came to an understanding after the process was completed. And we've continued our research ever since, more cautiously. We have not reopened that aperture into the within since that day.
Has what you pulled out taught you about what's beyond?
We have begun to understand. You have contributed further, nephew.
There's knowledge and magic beyond these four kingdoms, Athalor. Powers that can confound the Infernals and reshape reality. Things beyond their comprehension, beyond their strength. And what has happened cannot be undone. And Lamriel remains family. So together we've delved into those mysteries to understand beyond the capabilities, perhaps even of IOTH. Secrets and lore that have escaped him entirely. Things that we will understand and we will use to improve our connection to this world and to reshape it into something more just, something that the Infernals can no longer touch.
When, Father?
When?
Yeah.
I don't know, son. I don't know. Generations of the Andarud family, and each time we grow wiser and smarter and stronger, all the way from Yantor's first apprentice. How many more generations? I don't know. But he looks over at Lamriel.
We believe you will be the culmination of our efforts.
Quick lore check. The Andarud, are the Andarud of like Deantor's blood, or is the Andarud the first apprentice of Deantor?
Both.
Okay.
There was
Good
those
to know.
power balances get
Direct descendants of the Dawn. Lovely.
Mm-hmm. I spoke to you the day that you left. I told you that your path would take you beyond any of us.
I also conferred during your early stages that your destiny would surpass any at IOTH Academy.
That's because your heritage, our legacy, contains the dawn and beyond.
We're both at the core of this reality and existing outside of it?
Yes. Our bloodline stems directly from this world at its birth. But our vision transcends that. Beyond this world, beyond our world, to the infinite. To something that has always been and will always be, long before Anacra was even thought of and long after this cycle has ended. The true nature of reality.
Did you not think what came through when you opened that aperture was not a rejection of us leaving this?
I don't think reality works that way, Athalor. I don't think it's up to the universe to judge us. It simply is. And each part of it simply is. The forces of this world may have their own opinions and thoughts about how things should be, but the underlying truth is that reality simply is, without judgment. And if this world wants to reject us looking beyond it, then this world is unjust. And we are not bound by its constraints.
How do I stop the injustice that's happening now? I can't come back yet. There's too much I need to do.
Why do you have to do it? You're my son, Athalor. You deserve years and years of study before you truly blossom into your full potential. It took me centuries to get where I am now. You're a fraction of that. To expect you to solve the world's problems is nonsense. Not because you're incapable, but because that burden shouldn't fall to you.
You two both know that sometimes it's things we don't deserve that make us the best versions. You were both exiled, burned outside of Andarud, regardless of your bloodline. What came from and beyond this world. And if you are serious about me being a leader, then what I'm doing now will be more important than ever for our home.
Roll persuasion check, please.
I'm going to use an inspiration on that.
Go ahead. Chat's given you one already.
Hmm.
And they've given you luck.
Oh, good. Well, that's amazing. Let's use one of those lucky dice then. Truly, they aren't having this.
He does not yet understand. Further information is necessary. Nephew, your father was also modified by exposure to the beyond. That modification has carried down to you. Your fear of me has persuaded you to allow the sage to lock you down and create areas to your strength, believing that it would separate you from me when I pose you no threat. I am not the source of your strength. It is your birthright. I am simply present to guide you in honing it.
Can you help me recover the book?
Sorry, go again, Legs?
Can you help me recover the book?
Yes.
I want to know what's beyond. I want to be the one to become the apex of our family. But your designs don't override what I spent the last half a decade doing. The friends I've made who I need to save. The alliances I've made. And the understanding of civilization.
Athalor, what do you think would be best?
I want us to make the world better without seeing it destroyed first.
And how would you go about securing that?
Returning the book to the Academy.
Roll an insight check, please, with advantage, because chat has bestowed upon you the light of the pearl.
Ooh, the pearl! Shiver me to... Oh my goodness, it truly is a rolling day.
We do be rolling. And how will you accomplish that? What do you think the best course of action is?
I should use my birthright.
Logical. Every power and weapon at your discretion must be employed to secure your survival, the family's survival, and your ascension.
Chat has granted you a single automatic natural 20.
Oh,
that
damn.
you may use at any time before this episode is over.
Crazy. I need to know how to tap into this power without having you there all the time.
We understand. Contradictory. But we can instruct you in shielding yourself and maintaining dominion of your own mind. If you will permit us.
Athalor looks to his father. I need every possible tool.
If you consent, son, I can lift this spell.
Athalor massages his temples. Do it. Do it.
Okay. Hadarai walks across the chamber to you, places a hand on your shoulder. Firm. not stern, but decisive. And he casts Dispel Magic. Only at level 3. Because he is a badass abjurer. And you feel the spell Mind Blank ripped apart as he deftly unravels it piece by piece. As it lifts away, there's a sudden shock, like a body part that had been numb this entire time reawakens. Your mental powers, your aberrant mind sorcery floods back to you. That energy courses from your mind throughout your entire body. Your uncle pulls that tendril back out of his throat, which I am, again, not going to replicate.
We are your family, to protect you from all threats, wherever they come from.
All your class features are restored.
Ooh, that might be helpful. Athalor, when the sort of numb nerves come back, just once again, just reaches out to see what thoughts he can hear, whether they're of the two powerful beings in front of him or those who remained in the room behind, hitting the detect thoughts as he kind of opens his mind up to all of the psychic noise around.
Well, there's quite a bit of that noise. You're hearing all sorts of things from around the corner.
The design is, it is, it is, the design, it is, the design is, it is, the design is.
Filthy dawn elves! God, I would take their tendons and their nightmares and string them into a braid!
Must get out, 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 must get out. There's also screeching. And this voice is like keening voice. Don't you judge me. Don't you look down on me. I see you, you spider-faced bastard, thinking you're better than me. Well, you're not. None of the thoughts coming from the creatures in that room next door are sound or whole. They're all tattered and wavering and broken. And one of them is just laughing.
Is it a familiar cadence of laughter?
No, it is not. You'd know that laughter anywhere. This is somebody who just genuinely thinks everything is funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
No Balthagorius over here. Athel kind of just puts his hands to his ears and
shuts it
stops.
off.
Oh, it's been a while since my head's been that noisy.
Easy, easy. Take this slow. There's no need to... Your father freezes for a moment. Give me an insight check with advantage, please.
Uh-oh. Better.
He just got bad news.
Oh, no.
There are intruders in the forges. Machines. I need to deal with this quickly. It's your mother's workshop. And he turns and starts walking towards the door.
I'm coming too, Father.
you require our assistance?
No. Remain here. Remain safe. We can handle this. And he's not going to challenge you at all. He is going to walk forward, making haste as he pushes through past the various gibbering specimens in the other chamber. And you're able to keep pace without any difficulty. You can go ahead and just head down and follow him as he goes.
Mm-hmm. Athalor, like, kind of just thinks in his head, like, can you hear me still?
We are with you.
I need to know what you found out from Tasselmore.
We have studied the soul imprisonment magic. In addition to the knowledge you acquired, we have begun the investigation of soul transplantation and threading.
Is there specific
Information that you require.
His rune book, the abyssal runes. I've been making progress, but there aren't really much in the way of references.
We have access to additional information. Let us consider for a moment.
Athalor, as you walk near the door, you see that the symbol of death inscribed over it has been dispelled.
Did my father make a motion to do so?
No.
Father, is the ward supposed to be...
And you hear another voice speaking coldly and calmly from the door. No, it's not. And the light of the sage's lantern bursts forward, illuminating the entire chamber. As she stands in the doorway, blocking your progress, her white ash staff in one hand, the lantern in the other. Ah. Guests are not permitted in this area, honored sage. My duties surpass all laws of hospitality, Hadarai. And my will not go impeded. She looks over at you, Athalor, and you immediately know that she knows. Will you not introduce me to the reclusive Lamruil?
Your will won't go challenged, but knife will our home. You can meet him after we've cleaned up the other intruders.
Let us each tend to the threats we think are most severe. I will not stop you. She steps aside. Hadarai holds his ground. I have heard that you can be cruel, Dok Elfar. But this is a low step even for that. You would hold the lives of my people and the safety of the Dawn Elves over my head to harm my brother. That's a ploy worthy of an infernal. She seems completely nonplussed. Even if that is your brother, Hadarai, I have seen where it came from. I have seen the thing that spawned it. And if it remains within these 4 kingdoms, all of us will be consumed, including your precious refuge. You have a duty to perform, so do I. If you choose to let them die because of your short-sightedness, then their deaths fall on your head, not mine.
You've waited 5 years. You can wait another hour. Athalor looks at her very stonily.
Give me an intimidation or persuasion check, please.
Oh, first one.
That's fine. A 20. Athalor, if the path before me were clear, I would not have waited a single hour. You've seen what he did. You've seen what he brought here. Do you want that for this world? It will surely consume everything that you love, all of those you seek to protect. Worse than the Infernals. It is coming. And if I don't cut that thread, it won't be stopped. He's bringing it here, Athalor, and he's using you to do it.
Doesn't save lives by letting them wilt away while they're on their crusades. I'm not saying that you won't be able to try and stop this. I'm saying come with us for 1 hour.
Do persuasion now, please.
Oh, that's performance. That's also. I wish I knew words. Too many purrs.
Well, the final purr is the good one. God damn. She looks over at you. She looks at him. There is a white hot blade is the glare of her eyes right now, cutting straight through both of you. If she could, it would stab all the way, melt through the stone, right into Lamriel's heart. You can see her fingers clench around the staff and the lantern.
You know he exists. You know where.
1 hour. And she turns to walk through the doorway. Your father walks up beside you and looks down at you. And his praise is always measured. Like, good, that's correct. You want to continue doing that. This may be the first time you've seen him look impressed. And it's only a flicker of it, rather than satisfied. And he's going to walk with you swiftly out into the rest of the city, unless you have anything else to say or do.
Athalor rolls back his shoulders, starts going through a mental Rolodex of spells that started to elude him.
All right. Back up through the secret passages that you've taken. Back up all the way into the city itself. And how fortunate it is that you have entered here from the very depths, from this hidden low point within the city. For the noise, the fire, the explosion, the screams, the shouts, the peals of magical alarm that rise now are from the artificers' forges, located all the way at the bottom of the two sides of the city. The smoke rising up to be captured by metal nets and constructs that purify it to keep Andarud's air fresh and breathable. But the smoke, the heat, the soot is all down here. Pushing your way through the streets, abjurers and spell singers and armored warriors of Andarud wearing that silver and blue rush up on all sides as Hadarai gives orders left and right. Magical communications fly through the air. The response is swift. Long has it been since the sanctity of the Andarud refuge has been breached, but it seems that time has not dulled the defensive response of the elves at all. At last, you reach a place that you've not been for a long time, but you last saw the day that you left this place, your mother's forge, her foundry. She splits her time between this place and the royal chambers. After all, she's not the Kathramor, but the royal consort. And she has duties to tend to. As you approach, you hear screams and you see blood spattering the steps leading in. Hadarai hurries forward, calling forth his magic, preparing to go to the defense. As you step down the stairs that lead into your mother's foundry, and immediately into a scene of violence and chaos. Undead monstrosities feast upon corpses. Shadows flit along the ground, wrapping themselves around the elven battle mages who are defending the complex array that your mother uses to focus arcane energies into devices. You can hear death, battle cries, and spells going off left and right. And at the center of it all is a suit of armor. Its head shrunk down and protected by enormous plates of metal. Fire and haunting noises stream from its eyes. Its arms are enormous blades. It moves unnaturally as it turns to impale one of the elves just as you enter, slicing across its torso, half flapping off as it falls over to the ground, and it turns to look at you for a moment. Roll for initiative. Were I a smarter man, I would have pre-rolled all these initiatives so I wouldn't have to do this right now. While I get all this working, because yay, action figures, what is Athalor's first move going to be? What have you thought through for him as his powers reawaken?
Athalor's first move, it kind of remains the same. Like, he's got this, but he's still like, first of all, takes out IOTH's quill, flits it in the air and draws a trio of runes. One pushes into his chest, another onto his father's, and another onto the sage as he blesses the three of them.
Nice.
I'll give him the wingies, wherever those are.
Get a big boss. Here we go. And you can have one. Okay. Immediately upon entering, this shadow sweeps across the floor directly towards your father. Rises up. You've seen it. It looks almost exactly like Garnet's shades that she commands as it lashes out at him. And it shouldn't have advantage or disadvantage, but and a 22 will definitely hit.
I cast Silvery Bombs.
There it is. Use your reaction, and it has to roll again and take the worst of the two. And it glances off the shield of arcane armor that your father had cast earlier, the mage armor, and it just bounces off. Another shadow flies forward, slipping past it, seeing the magic that you're casting, and it attacks you directly. A 9 does not hit as it grabs out, reaching to drain the strength from your very body. The whites now push forward. The shadows barely occupying any space, they're able to lunge forward, screaming for your life force. 2 of them attack your father. The second one strikes true, slashing him for 7 points of damage. It glimmers off of the arcane defensive ward that he cast earlier, reducing its hit points slightly. The second one attacks you directly, reaching out with its claw wrapped with necrotic energy. Does an 18 hit?
It does.
Harurai uses his reaction to project his ward onto you. It absorbs the damage instead. Now both of you have used your reactions. That white still has an attack. It's going to use its longsword on you. Well, nothing you can do about that. Enjoy 5 points of slashing damage.
I will.
And the last one is going to hit him with life drain once. And with his sword once. Neither of which hit. As they just keep bouncing off the defensive spells that he's cast. The armored monstrosity up ahead. A darkly foreboding intelligence glows behind the automaton's eyes. Its joints seep with hissing vapors. And with everybody else in the way, it uses its 2 necrotic slam attacks to attempt to kill this battle mage who was rising to the defense. With 2 crushing blows, not only does it smash him, but it drains the very life from him. The elf withers and dies before your very eyes. And then it turns its attention to you. Harurai examines his options for a moment. And then casts Chain Lightning. A bolt arcs out towards the foe directly in front of him. The white that just landed a single hit. Vaporizing it instantaneously. It arcs, and let's see, it hits 3 other targets, and each of them also has to make the same save. Okay, so let's hit the other 2 whites. Does that save? What's his spell?
Apparently DC 15?
I think it's higher than that. The math on these has been pretty weird, honestly.
Well, I've got a DC 15. And I'm level 6.
All right, so his DC should be 18. So, no, that fails. He just casts Chain Lightning and fries all 3 of the whites. Then sort of dusts himself off and examines the next target. Let's see, yeah, you're dead. Because there's still shadows and such in the way.
Mm-hmm.
With them out of the way, the Clockwork Abomination rounds the corner, shoves itself directly into the line of fire, and is going to breathe doom upon thee. You've seen these things before. It shoots fire in a 20-foot cone, flooding the entire chamber. Please roll a dexterity saving throw.
Yay. Oh, I think I'm going to use one of my inspirations on this one.
Yeah, let's do that, shall we?
It was nice knowing you all.
Go ahead and enjoy a cool 30 points of fire damage.
Bloody hell.
Harurai has advantage on this because he's resistant to magic. And
Oh, that was a healing boost earlier. Feels good, man.
sweet. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take that in a moment. Was that a chat healing boost? Or, yeah, it was a healing boost for...
Yeah, first person who took over 15
Cool.
damage.
Yeah, go ahead and heal yourself 2d4 plus 2 immediately, please. It then shoves itself out of the way as the other one charges in and also breathes fire on you. Roll another dexterity saving throw for me, please.
One way to drain all the advantages.
That is a success. You're only going to take half of 22. So enjoy 11 points, please.
Oh, okay. But...
And the sage blows her first saving throw and nails the second one. So she takes 41 points of damage. Cool, cool. Athalor, how much health do you have left?
5.
Your death is unacceptable.
And you feel Uncle's power surging through you. As that psychic energy churns through your body, you immediately heal 8d4 plus 8 points of damage, thanks to chat.
Wow.
And he unleashes a mind blast. Roll 4d12 plus 5, please.
Roll 4d12 plus 5. I wish I could type. That'd be really
That'd be nice, right? That'd be a nice upgrade.
But that'd be lovely.
Okay. Everybody affected has to roll an intelligence saving throw. That is a big fat failure. The other one is also a big fat failure. Both of the Clockwork Abominations immediately take 31 points of damage and are stunned. And they have to make a new saving throw at the start of each of their at the end of each of their turns to no longer be stunned. The Fellforged is going to roll and is not immune. Also fails. Takes 31 points of damage and is stunned. And, the shadows. All right, while I'm doing all of this, as this like surge of psionic power rushes through you, make your move.
It's like just reading some spell descriptions I never got to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tears all the shadows to shreds almost instantaneously as he just annihilates their minds. Making a secret roll. Don't worry about me.
Okay. Right. The first one in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
I have advantage because of silvery barbs.
Yes.
I'm going to use Quicken spell. Athalor whips out the quill, just throws a firebolt at the one that's right in front of us.
Okay. That is definitely a hit as it connects with the stunned creature directly in front of you. It is, however, resistant to fire, and it only takes 2 points of damage.
Okay, and then because I had Quicken spell, I can now take an action. And so I'm going to hit the 20-foot radius Hunger of Hadar on these bad boys.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, Athalor just like thinks about what's in his brain right now.
And just releases it. Just
once more.
Lets it out to play. Cool. Drop that spell in chat. Thank you. 20 feet. Let me get that in here real quick. And do they save immediately? It's when they start their turn. Cool. When they start their turn and if they end their turn. Both. All right. Behold, the Hunger of Hadar.
When it gets cast out, Athalor like shouts to the sage to use the lantern.
Okay.
Figuring that these are infernal creatures and they might get somehow pinged.
All right. Is that it for your turn?
Yes. Am I going to get attack of opportunity if I move back a little bit?
Nope, he's stunned.
All right, cool. In which case I will move back a little bit.
The sage walks forward, takes the lantern, and just sets it on the ground. And its light flares out in a 30-foot radius, piercing the darkness that you've created, illuminating straight through it. Everyone can now see into it. Perhaps it would be better if you could not see into it, for the horrors that lie within were not meant to be perceived by mortal eyes. So she sets it down, activates its ward mode, basically. And then, at that exact moment, she has no bonus. Yeah, she has like no bonus actions whatsoever. At that exact moment, an assassin drone zooms around the corner.
Uh-oh.
And it has difficult terrain, but it doesn't get affected at all. So the assassin drone zooms around the corner, but does not take the sage by surprise because she has Foresight cast, which means nothing surprises her. And as it whizzes in, it goes to deliver its toxic payload with 2 sting attacks, which it should be making with disadvantage. Because, again, she has foreseen this eventuality. And still hits. And
wait, I cast silvery bombs again! New reaction!
All right, we're rolling again. And sting. And I got a 20. I have to use the lower roll, so I still hit.
That's crazy.
And it does another sting attack. Ignore that 23. That's just the system being slow. Wow, it got her twice.
Dude, this thing's OP.
Damn. It's just this little screw you, I'm going to kill you now machine. Well, she has to roll 2 saving throws. And the shadows are wiped out, and the whites are wiped out, and the Fellforged starts its turn inside the bad zone, which means that it has to do what again?
It takes 2d6 cold damage, and it's blinded.
Ooh, neat. Go ahead and roll me that 2d6. Also, because of the overuse of fire magic here, everybody in the scene now has fire resistance. Every single person. It's another stream loose thing.
Is that enemies too?
Yes, everybody in the scene has fire resistance. Too much fire is being
entities.
used, so no. All right.
Does that mean that the cold damage does more? I remember that the opposite is stronger, right?
Does it? Yeah. Does it say that the opposite is empowered? Is that how that one works? Yeah, its opposite element gets empowered. So
In which case, I guess roll 4d6?
Yes, sir.
Or
Which
another
is good.
2d6?
Yeah, because this thing is resistant to cold damage too, so it's going to take 6 points of damage in total. And it gets a new saving throw to avoid being stunned. Guess what? Intelligence is not its strong suit. It's still stunned. Adderite looks at the spell that you've just cast with some degree of familiarity. He's dealt with this sort of magic before. Obviously. Your uncle.
Just a little.
And examining the creature in front of him, there is nothing quite like the classics. So let's just go ahead and hit him with the bot.
Bah. If it's oh nice. A little bit of magic missile.
Mm-hmm. All right. It glances off the thing and barely seems to harm it. He's going to use his bonus action to make an Arcana check, analyzing the invader. This construct contains a bound spirit of some kind. Definitely infernal make. It's a pity I don't have the correct equipment to deal with this. And I forgot to mention that because it started its turn in that area, and it ended its turn in that area, so it takes acid damage too, right?
Yep.
Cool. And the light of the Sage's Lantern, because it's been planted in Doom mode, inflicts 19 points of radiant damage.
So 28 overall unless it's resistant
now the
to
thing
acid.
it's bloodied. It's starting to break apart. It's popping. It's having a bad time.
The this thing should also be taking damage, right? The little drone.
No, it's outside the area of effect. That one little
okay.
square right here is the end of it. Let me get the shadow out of the way. Be gone.
Okay, now I
And
see.
you. And you, yeah.
Be gone, corpses.
The Clockwork Abomination starts its turn in the effect. So roll 4d6 for cold damage.
Oh, that's a lot of ones.
And it's resistant to cold damage. So we're just going to go ahead and do a little bit of that. And it's in the light of the lantern, and it is empowered by infernal energy, so it can go ahead and enjoy a cool 41 points of radiant damage, and it breaks down. And does it explode? I seem to recall these things exploding. Yes.
I thought that was for smaller ones, but
nope, it explodes. Roll a dexterity saving throw, please. Everyone within 10 feet. Oh, you're outside of 10 feet. You're fine.
yeah.
It explodes and it does fire damage, which is going to be halved to everybody. So this is barely going to be worth anything. So we'll just do a little bit of the bot. Okay. Each take like a sliver of damage. And Hadarai's comes off of his shield. And give me that sweet... Oh no, 46 on this guy. Yep, this one also explodes from the combined efforts of both of your powers. This attack is being very swiftly resolved. The only foe still in the area of effect right now is the Fellforged, which is stunned and vibing.
Does that mean auto crits?
Stunned does not give auto crits.
Ah, okay.
It just means that they can't do anything. Let me verify.
It's illuminated by the lantern, right?
Yes, attacks against it. It's incapacitated. It can't move. It fails strength and dex saves, and attacks against it have advantage.
Okay, cool.
Your turn.
Nice. Athalor is going to
Roll 1d6, please.
Oh, bloody hell.
Okay. Your uncle's Mind Blast has not recharged.
Okay.
Otherwise, he'd use it again.
Athalor's gonna grasp onto a diamond inlaid in the chest of the elven chain with one hand and draw some of the energy from the quill that was stored at the elemental gateway earlier and fling forth a bolt of radiant energy as I cast Chromatic Orb at level 3.
Nice, very nice. That is an attack with advantage. It's a hit, and you're dealing radiant damage, right?
Yes.
Cool. That is 100% effective. And we're going to go ahead and just take that 16 points of damage. Bop. Anything else? Is Bless a concentration spell? It is, right?
It is, yeah.
And so is Hunger of Hadar?
Oh, maybe.
Because in that case, the Bless has dropped.
Ah, yes. I haven't used Hunger of Hadar before, so yes, the Bless has dropped.
It's been a while. Okay. The Sage glances at the assassin drone that is trying to kill her. And she doesn't have a lot in the way of combat magic, all things considered. She will cast, because normally she uses her lantern to do that. Yeah, she's just going to cast invisibility on herself and let her lantern continue to kill the crap out of it. She casts invisibility, steps to the side. The drone starts its turn in the area of the lantern. It is of infernal power, and it explodes. Ooh. It is now the Fellforged turn. Please roll 4d6 for your cold damage.
More no whammies. No whammies!
Oh, we take that. It is resistance, so we're going to do a little 9 points of damage. And
isn't it? Oh, yeah.
And we hit him with a pop, and it the light of the lantern leaks into its cracks and it falls apart. And as it opens, this churning cloud of darkness with red glowing facial features screams and rips its way out of the front, flying up and then evaporating in the blue light of the light of truth. Everyone, Hadaraya looks back and forth, listens for a moment. I think that was everybody.
Athalor drops the Adarian hunger. What are they doing here?
How did they get here? Our refuge should be sealed from any and all extra-dimensional access. The Sage picks up her lantern and starts walking around, looking into corners as if she's going to find the place that did it. Hadarai walks over and knocks on this door. Nivara? You hear footsteps. The door opens. And there's nobody inside. Your mother stops concentrating on the invisibility spell and throws her arms around your uncle. From out of nowhere, the Sage emerges and holds up her lantern. And Your mother blinks away at the light, but does not glimmer as one of Imago's mirror clones.
Mother, how did they get in? Where did they come from?
The air just tore itself open. There was this golden light for a moment, and they just emerged from nowhere.
Golden light.
The sage gives you a dark look.
Athalor looks back to her and then, where, Mother? Where was the light?
Just here, and she moves over to point straight into the corner. And
Athalor floats the quill over to the corner.
Mm-hmm. The quill stops as if it hit something.
Zips it back. Did it look as if it hit something physical?
It looked as if it started scraping across parchment. That's kind of the feel that you got.
Huh.
The ground beneath you, the ceiling above you, the air that you're breathing shudder and jolt. Everyone in the room staggers, barely able to keep their balance. Half-created magic items fall off the walls. The gigantic focus array in the middle of the room swings wildly, its armature going in all directions. And Athalor, the comforting hum of the gyre itself skips a beat, like a heart attack. Hadorai looks immediately over to you. Gyre. And casts teleport.
Athalor just grabs onto his shoulder as quickly as possible to be in this teleport.
Okay. The two of you vanish. The ground beneath you falls away. And you stand within the very the holy chamber itself. The heart of your home. You can see the air dancing in those blue rippling patterns. You can feel that hum stronger than ever. The Kothramor gathered around it struggle as if the earth beneath them has just been shocked. I don't know if you've ever been inside the chamber itself, Athalor.
Just saw the door open.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to do?
Across the way from you, a pool of golden light ripples and opens. A disruption in this holy chamber.
Alexander. They're using the book.
And he steps through it. Your old classmate. Looks around. Locks eyes with you for a moment. And then the rest of them begin walking through. And Athalor's story will continue on his next adventure in Book of Dawn, IOTH Academy. When we come back, we'll have Lemon Kiwi, Garnet's Adventures in Brontha. Don't go anywhere.